Alrighty, we're gonna start right into this recap on the dashboard. Um, yeah, I added some cool like visualization bars here. Um, ooh, that's also cool. I can kind of select different months and then the stats pop up down here and here as well. I just noticed that feature. That's cool. Anyway, we have the intuition model, which is the work in progress name right here. Today, one trade and a loss. Um, yeah, we'll get into that. And then the macro model, ooh, same thing. So, man, yeah, ever since taking that payout in June, we've kind of lost our momentum on the macro model here. The month so far is looking pretty meh. But yeah, today again, like the setup was decent. Like it was valid. Um, yeah, just didn't really happen. Anyway, what we're looking at today? Well, me personally, again, just bullish, right? And like it's been kind of the curse of me ever since basically this Wednesday here, where we failed to run these daily relative equals. I mean, ever since then, we've kind of not quite delivered. I mean, you could argue, okay, we're, you know, delivered like 700 points off the low we put in here, which is true. Also caught some really nice longs here on Thursday, but like not quite what I'm expecting. I was expecting us to be a little more bullish. Again, overnight yesterday, like on Friday, we had closest propulsion block coming from the daily gap and the daily breaker. And then yesterday we'd kind of consolidated. And today we had this second daily gap here, which I was expecting us to just tap and go kind of situation, which we definitely have done more than just tap it. But I mean, yeah, I guess from the perspective of us having CPI tomorrow, uh, it does make sense for us to kind of uh, maybe have a Tuesday low of the week, or maybe even a Wednesday low of the week if CPI manipulates further. Um, so like that's not too crazy. But yeah, I think today again we had longs that kind of set themselves up, and then just ended up not playing out. So like essentially what happened, this honestly pretty similar to yesterday, but we kind of consolidated overnight, and then at the open we ran Asia lows um, right here, and then if we jump to ES real quick, we can see those same Asia lows um, get ran at 11. So initially at this 9 a.m. run lower, we had some nice SMT here. Um, I mean, that was like the higher time frame framework, right? We run this low with SMT, and then we're looking for a run of these highs, also London highs, which was basically where the intuition model, we'll call it. It still sounds like a kind of rough name, but that's where that trade came from. Because basically, when we tapped Asia lows, and yeah, I'm dropping to the 5-minute chart here. When we tapped Asia lows down here, we didn't quite get the setup I was looking for. Otherwise, today might have actually been a winning day. Had we got some sort of 1-minute setup that looked good and like clean down here, like I would have been willing to take it. Just didn't quite happen. Um, anyway, yeah, we swept Asia lows. Then we got this 5-minute breaker, tap the 5-minute breaker, move higher again. We left this FEG. We retraced to the FEG. SMT at this other 5-minute gap with ES. So we have high time from SMT at Asia lows, and it's looking like we've got a 5-minute market maker buy model, right? And now obviously this kind of meh that we have like this big gap and all this, but like the highs up here are very low resistance. So yeah, I was looking for that, and then basically off the 5-minute gap, we got a 1-minute breaker, right? And I was just like, okay, I'm ready. I was very bullish. I thought we were gonna go do it, and we did not go do it. That was a quick stop out here. So not much you can do there. Sometimes that's just how life goes. There was a long here initially pre-Asia lows getting swept that looked like on the 1-minute pattern wise, this is a super nice breaker. But like context wise, with us being right above Asia lows, I had no point in taking these. And then like, yeah, as I mentioned, right here, I was kind of trying to frame like, okay, if we reran this low and then got a breaker, where like essentially we ended up with a mitigation block, but there's also no SMT like this to kind of ground the mitigation block in a way. But yeah, how we got that, like this would have been definitely something I would have been looking to long if we had reran these lows here on the 1 minute. So, and that's why I'm saying, like, again, even with that, chances are, like, even had I, let's just say, had like this position, right, in an optimal world, chances are, actually, I probably would have got a partial, because I think off a 43-point stop today, I would have actually double conned. So I might have partialed one of those cons at 3R, but anyway, it wouldn't have been like I would have probably once again tried to hold for London highs like I did yesterday, and end up with like a little bit of a stinky return on some trails stop or some shit. Yeah, and then after that, I was still down for a re-entry here, and the last chance at a re-entry, we ran into a 15-minute gap here, and we had SMT, and yeah, I had my limit set here, and I kind of fumbled this in a way because I had my line here on the order block, and then we didn't close below, but if you look very closely, we actually closed above the breaker. So I had my line here, which I then missed the fact that the breaker was a little lower and that we had actually closed the breaker, and by the time I noticed that, price was already gone. So unfortunate there, but we potentially could have got that fill. But even with that fill, here's the thing, right? Result-wise, it wouldn't have changed much because I would have just barely got to 2R. And this external probably would have went break even here. And then my first target to partial would have been this high, and then London with the second con. And yeah, that would not have happened. Like I would have just got break even. Other than that, there was this propulsion block here. Now, the reason I didn't like taking this is we had already cleared these highs with SMT to ES. Like ES never actually cleared these highs. By the time we closed the propulsion block, we'd already taken the highs on NQ and had that SMT kind of printing. So I wasn't looking to like super chase this, which I think I definitely could have been misled to do. Like I think today could have been a much worse day than it was, to be honest. Like, if you're just looking at this, right? Like, yeah, it's not the most convincing close in and of itself, but like if you look at the 5-minute chart and you have this SMT, like the longs look pretty nice, right? But like bar that, like I could have, missed the whole Asia lows idea and, taken a long here and then like chased the propulsion blocks here. So like it could have been much worse, honestly. But yeah, it wasn't, even for like the macro model, it was pretty mid. We can move into that. This first macro 950 again down here would have longed some sort of breaker. We don't get it. 1050 macro, I was actually potentially eyeing shorts after we had this SMT. But the only real breaker here would have been this. And as you can see, yeah, we never actually retraced to it after we closed through it. So nothing to do there, unfortunately. And then 1150, we actually ended up having SMT, like a higher time frame SMT on the 50-minute chart here at these lows, right? Asia low, not Asia, but the purge of Asia lows, like New York AM lows essentially. We had a pretty big SMT there with ES. What is this? What trend line? just got distracted there. That should be all good. Yeah, this was the long. Obviously, in hindsight here, it looks kind of whack. But essentially, the idea was a lunch macro retracement into the range. We had SMT at this low here, and then we also got consecutive candle SMT on the 15-minute after the 12 o'clock open. It's also an early consecutive candle where NQ opens, trades lower, displaces back above this breaker. And then, yeah, again, we had like some internal liquidity where I thought potentially we just get a retrace back into the range here. And the framework lined up to take the trade. So it was just like, yeah, let me take it. Obviously, it did not play out. So yeah, that's where the -1 for that model comes from. And the -1 for the other model, obviously, already explained here. So yeah, I can just quickly journal. Well, I'm going to journal these, but yeah, overall, a -1 day for both models, which, you know, happens. What are you going to do? Quickly, while I'm at it, I can just sidebar into Lucid, and you'll see that, yeah, that we have that loss. It already would have just popped up before I had to re-log in for some reason. But yeah, there's a losing day right there, and then execution-wise, we've got that one trade only, so, you know, no cap here. And then Top Step, which again, Safari still does not work. I always have to pull it up on Chrome to actually trade. Oh, it's working again. Look at that, the candle's moving. Okay, that's nice for tomorrow then. But yeah, as you can see, -1, right? Executions, I guess, have off, but yeah, judging by the P&L, everything matches. So there's that. Whoops. That's me getting fucking mated, by the way, on a blitz game today. Whoopsie. Yeah, that's the recap. Highlight of this recap is the cool new dashboard. Like if I go to the macro model, it really pops because there's actually some data here from the whole year now. So that's cool, right? You know, I coded this myself. No, I'm joking. I typed in prompts on Claude. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that dashboard. I feel like it's basically like a TradeZella type deal, but, you know, for free. So that's awesome. Link to my Notion. Very easy to deal with. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like, what else can I add to that? I'm getting very distracted from the trading parts now. But like, I feel like these stats are a bit, I don't know, like we've got the win rate and everything. We can go all time for the model. 60% win rate, average 4R at the moment, over only 11 trades, obviously. So, but you know, we can bump back and forth here. You can see the macro model doing its thing. So yeah, man. Basically break even on the intuition model now this week, but I think the last 3 days of the week here should be the most promising with CPI, and then, you know, post CPI volatility maybe carrying through. That is at least the hope. So yeah, that's the recap.